You won't have anxiety about being stuck in boarding Group C because you won't be bogged down with unnecessary details like having an actual plane to board.
That's called problem solving.
No, what actually happened is you violated my rights by mandating a...
What do you hate your country?
I was in the military!
There might be a little something to what he's saying.
But it's really no big deal.
It couldn't be a smaller deal.
Do we gotta keep this guy alive?
I think we have to. We've recently instituted a new policy that necessitates all Southwest personnel let us put whatever we want into their bodies. If they let us, they get to keep their jobs. If they don't, they're fired.
It's sort of like a Harvey Weinstein approach to healthcare.
And that's something everybody wants.
So we hope this explains the exciting new changes we've made at Southwest recently.
At Southwest, we know traveling can be stressful. That's why we're doing everything in our power with our new improvements to give you a comfortable travel experience.
That won't include any travel.
Book your next trip with Southwest.
We'll take you where you already are.
Well, finally, an honest message from a multinational corporation, and they have a point. Symbolically speaking, there's not much difference between what Harvey Weinstein was doing and what Biden wants to do to you. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org. Oh boy, are there very serious problems ahead as Australian police officers are checking people's coffees as Bitcoin soars of record high worldwide inflation. But that's just the beginning of the problems, as it looks like the government will only exacerbate those problems that much worse as police officers, frontline workers, even professional athletes are all being affected by government in the worst possible ways. And we're going to get into that plus a lot more, but before we do, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is, of course, by the collaboration that we've been waiting forever to happen. And that, of course, is Ryan Long teaming up with Awaken with JP. They just released a video. And if you want to watch their full video, the link to this video will, of course, be down in the description below. And I gotta say, it's pretty awesome to see these kinds of collaborations, and I definitely hope to see more of them, as these guys really do some of the most important work out there. And their messaging is more important than ever, as many multinational corporations are prioritizing woke political dogma, hurting their employees over, of course, providing a product or service that is actually good for people, as we've seen with Southwest. And very interestingly, Delta, another major U.S. airline, is going to be taking the opposite approach, as he just announced that Biden's mandates are, quote, divisive, and that at his company they will, quote, work collaboratively with employees, and that they won't be threatening to fire them because of their personal private medical decisions. So it's good to see that there is an alternative, especially when it comes to the importance of voting with your dollar and incentivizing policies by supporting companies that represent those larger ideas. Let the free market speak, but not too freely, because then the Bank of England will try to shut you down, as we had a senior Bank of England policymaker recently come out on the world stage and say that Bitcoin could trigger a, quote, financial meltdown, and it needs to be stopped and regulated immediately. This is absolutely hilarious, since, of course, we know that a large majority of the financial problems in this world and throughout history have always been because of reckless money printing, which has been exacerbated ever so extensively throughout the last few months, and now because of just massive creation of something out of thin air, the value of it goes down. But, Bitcoin's to blame from all of this somehow, according to the Bank of England. What frickin' utter lunatics. And in related utter freaking lunatic news, we just recently found out that China just tested a nuclear-capable hypersonic gliding vehicle that traveled around the globe through low orbit in space before cruising to its original target. An act which has, quote, allegedly stunned U.S. intelligence and military officials. And as the world becomes more dangerous, complicated, and unstable, what is the Biden administration promising to focus on? Well, the political prosecution of his opponents, who right now have no institutional power, no say in what's going on, in what looks like another vengeful, spiteful attack on anyone who disagrees with his ideas. This, as Biden just announced that he wants the DOJ to prosecute Steve Bannon and anyone else who, quote, defies a congressional subpoena to their January 6th commission. And we wonder why people are screaming, "Let's go, Brandon," almost everywhere where they get an opportunity to do so, to the point where now a song that's called "Let's Go, Brandon" has gone to the top of the iTunes chart, following, of course, the national trend that has been sweeping this country. And to celebrate that, we have just released our Let's Go Brandon t-shirts, which are exclusively available on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, where you could also get this shirt of the Monopoly Fiat Man being literally eaten up by the Bitcoin shark, in celebration of course, Bitcoin doing so well recently. We have a lot of shirts, hats, hoodies, socks, water bottles, yoga mats, cell phone cases, you name it. We got it. All on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. The link is down below. Click on it right now just so you could scroll through the craziness. And hey, if you have a product, send us your photo and we will put it up on our official shirt store just by emailing the photo to info@wearechange.org. The heroic Cheryl Peel Jackson even sent us a photo, which of course we're very grateful for. And it's pretty awesome seeing people send their photos, not just from all around the country, but from all around the world. So yeah, we got a lot of great stuff on there, including some really great Christmas-themed clothes, which you should definitely get now to make sure that it comes in on time with all the supply shortages. Now, the video that you're about to see is just as absurd as it is tyrannical. And this video, of course, coming from Melbourne, Australia.
Plus, myself included, I work out.
Would you just mind if I check if there's actually anything in that?
Oh, yeah, there's coffee in there. Enjoy your coffee. Thank you.
Yeah, since, empty coffee cups are a threat against your health somehow, as of course there's massive warrantless stops, paper police checkpoints all throughout Australia to making sure that the peasant citizenry is complying with all the whims and demands of government bureaucrats. But of course the insanity is not just contained in Australia, as today we're finding out that 1/3 of the World Health Organization investigating the origins of the global sickness has a direct conflict of interest with research linked to the same exact sickness. Because nothing says science like a massive conflict of interest. On top of all of this, we have the President of the United States ushering absolutely complete lies that even the mainstream media knows not to be true. This on top of new information coming to light showing how one of the procedures for this sickness wanes protection from 88% to just 3% in less than 6 months. Yes, there's a new study showing how the J&J procedure, 3% effective in less than 6 months. And as the government keeps lying through their teeth about this procedure, as we're finding out more and more the reality of it, this for some reason hasn't stopped many powerful bureaucrats still trying to force it on you, as of course there's an official mandate that many Americans will be facing very soon. Mandates that will have far, wide-reaching effects on almost everyone's life, even if you're not a city employee, a government official, or someone who works for a major corporation with over 100 employees, as we're learning that nearly 50% of Chicago police officers could be put on unpaid leave for not going along with the Harvey Weinstein-supported medical procedure. The police union boss in Chicago is even hinting at the possibility of a strike, as over 6,500 Chicago cops could be left without a job. Chicago, by the way, is one of America's major cities with an extensive amount of laws, especially against firearms, and very interestingly, it also has the highest amount of firearms-related deaths and injuries. Now, the battle between the Chicago Police Union and the mayor is unfolding right now in a court. The deadline for Chicago police officers to provide their proof of procedure is due today. What will happen from here will be very interesting to look at. This on top of major violent crime rising all throughout the United States, as some major cities have restricted and in some instances stopped intervention of police officers. In New York City, where overdose deaths have risen 36% in a year, government officials there are ordering NYPD officers not to intervene when they see addicts shoot up in public. In Philly, police officers are told not to pull people over for minor traffic offenses. That might be a good thing. But as some police officers are told not to work, some of them just willingly not doing it themselves, violent crime has, of course, spiked tremendously all throughout the United States, and there's no denying that. Now, the problems in Chicago are not unique, as we have videos coming all throughout the country showing state troopers and police officers resigning, like this video that we're going to be playing tomorrow on lukeuncensored.com, by the way, of a Washington state trooper resigning. Seattle authorities are preparing for backup plans as they expect their police and firefighters to also resign, as of course this is creating a major showdown between the state and its enforcers. What will be the consequences of this larger clash between these two forces? Well, we're going to see, but it's not just police officers being fired or resigning. It's also doctors being ejected from their hospitals, nurses and other medical staff, along with some professional athletes that are either being denied the access to play, or some of them can't because of complications from this medical procedure, like Brandon Goodwin of the Atlanta Hawks. Now, why is the government doing this, creating these problems, sowing this chaos? Well, we don't know, but a lot of people are sick of it, as of course there have been major demonstrations, not just in the United States about this madness, particularly places like New York City that have been the most affected by a domestic passport permission slip system, but also, of course, globally. France, another place where the government is enforcing their will on the citizenry in extraordinary ways, has just entered its 14th consecutive week of massive protest against this passport system. Italy, of course, has been rocked by major demonstrations and major workers' unions standing up and even shutting down one of its major ports, as it just implemented yet another insane policy surrounding this surveillance control system, where now every employee in the private and public sector needs to jump through government hoops in order to get permission to be able to work. And as, of course, these protests erupt all over the world, very rarely are we even hearing about them, and even rarer are we hearing about the states actually backing down, like they recently did in Quebec, where the government postponed their mandatory passport system for healthcare professionals because, you know, firing frontline doctors, nurses, and medical professionals during a time of year where people's health issues are exacerbated to the most in any other part of the year is absolutely ridiculous, draconian, insane, and that's a perfect description of the government in my own personal opinion. If you agree with me, share this video with your friends and family members. If you disagree with me, let me know why. If you dislike the video, click the dislike button. If you liked it, click the like button. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively participating and being a part of this independent media organization. I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org.